What's up, guys? Here to have a little bit of fun today, St. Patrick's Day. I thought I'd do something a little special. A lot of you guys seem to really enjoy some of the mock drafts I did and some of the live shows I've did in the last week. So I think I'm going to try to do live shows a little bit more regularly. But today I wanted to have a little bit of fun. I know people love trading down when it comes to the draft and doing mock drafts. Putting on my phone and so I wanted to go ahead and get started today, do something a little bit fun. I have two different mock simulators set up, depending on which one I'll use right now. I have PFF and PFSN. I think the PFSN has a better board, but I wanted to go ahead and check both, see how they work, and see what the trade logic looks like in each. But I wanted to have a little bit of fun, do some trading down. Wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. We know the river in Chicago is officially green. Everything's green, greened out. And I want to go ahead and explore some of the trade down options and what it would look like for the Bears. I do believe this year is a very good year. If we want to acquire some additional picks, and we want to trade down from 25, I do think it's a good spot because we're kind of in no man's land there. We're missing out on like the top 15 guys. The elite blue chip prospects are all going to be off the board by the time the Bears pick. So, really, where we're picking at, we're kind of in a situation where we could reach a little bit, we could take the best player on the board, but it's kind of dictated by how the teams ahead of us pick. So if there's not one of our top positions of need, let's say Peter Woods is gone, the defensive tackle from Clemson, the top edge rusher they want is gone, and neither of the safeties fall to 25, or if the Bears don't feel like drafting a safety that high, then it makes a lot of sense to trade down. You could go down 10 to 15 picks and pick up an extra day two selection in round two or three. And then the Bears could potentially have five picks in the top 100. Also, fits some needs there because the Bears do have a lot of needs on this defense. Right now, we need a starting safety. We need more help at defensive tackle, more help at edge. Could use another center. We could, especially a developmental center for the future. We could even use a cornerback and a linebacker as well. So a lot going on here. Thanks to everybody that's in the chat. I see my man Paul, Scamper Vision, Evie's in the chat, Duke Rufus, Dobie. Welcome in, guys. I'm gonna go ahead, have some fun. If it goes, depending on how this goes and what you guys want to do, we could also do another fan voted mock draft towards the end if you guys are feeling it and that's what you want to do. I definitely could see Ryan Poles trading down from pick 25. But like I said, it kind of depends on what the teams do in front of us. If there's a player they really want at 25 and he's still on the board, we're probably going to take that guy. But if things happen and it gets a little bit out of whack there and the top two or three guys we want are all gone, then it's a great chance we could trade down. There's teams that could be looking to come up for a wide receiver. Teams could want to come up. Wide receiver is probably the best one. We could also see maybe a team trading up for a quarterback like Ty Simpson. I'm hitting the draft. We're going to see what happens. See, this is one of those situations here. My guy, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, is off the board. So the safety's gone. I also believe, where'd he go? Did he go to? Oh man, they had Thieneman go top 10 above Caleb Downs. So Thieneman went ninth, Caleb Downs went 10th, and then Akeem Mesidor 17. Eldrick Falk, another guy I really like. He went 18th. Manuel McNeil Warren went 23rd. So at this point, Peter Woods would probably normally be my selection. I do really like Peter Woods. I could also see him off the board. Caden Proctor wouldn't be a bad choice there either. But the Browns are offering us a pick at pick 39. So this would be going down 14 spots. At this point, I would want 39 and 70 to go down that far. Because there's a 95% that's actually really good value there. We're going down 14 slots here, but we're picking up another top 100 pick. I'm going to go ahead and do this. We're going to get pick 39 and pick 70 for pick 25. You could always try to get a little bit more out of that, but I don't see it really happening right there. We'll see. I want to quickly just take a look at where some other guys went. Ruben Bain Jr. went seventh, Parnell Tate eighth, Spencer Fano and Monroe Freeling right there. Makai Lemon 19th. Kenyon Sadiq went 21st. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and offer the trade. Browns accepted. So it's gonna move us down from 25 to 39, guys. Pretty big jump. But these are the picks we now have: 39, 57, 60, 70, and 89. That's 5 picks in the top 100, and then 3 kind of flyer picks on day 3. Hey, my man, Buck. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. Dope. No, Dope, I said your name. Oh, you forgot how to say it? Did I? Is it Dobie? You gotta correct me, man. If I'm saying it wrong, that's my bad, brother. That's my bad. Yeah, the football, when you click that, the little football that pops up, that's something I noticed. I think they added that this year. I don't think that was something that was here in the past. All right, let's go ahead and see what happens to the board. Let's look at what happened between those picks. The player they traded up for was an offensive tackle. Caden McDonald and Caleb Banks came off the board fast. So did TJ Parker, Cassius Howe, Caden Proctor. I really would have loved to see Kristen Miller fall a few more picks. Probably would have been my selection there. Lee Hunter would have been really nice at 39 as well. But here we are sitting at 39, no trade offers. But this is a position I'm probably going to go ahead and select. I really like Zion Young after moving down. Um, he's a guy who a lot of people love him at 25. If we really love Zion Young, this is the kind of draft I would prefer. I would rather trade down and land Zion Young than I would taking him at pick 25. Jacob Rodriguez would be a nice selection. Gabe Jackas, AJ Halsey, Malachi Lawrence. A lot of players on the board here you could go with. I know a lot of people love trading Stooks. They were talking about him in my last live. People are pretty big on him. Derek Moore, but I think the way the board fell here, I also like D'Angelo Pons, but I don't know if he fits Dennis Allen's scheme. Him and Al Harris both seem to like tall, lengthy corners. That's not Pons. The guy I'm going to go with, Caleb Lemieux, would be interesting. He'd be interesting, but I think he's more of a right tackle, in my opinion. He's another guy who would have to learn the left tackle position. And I think anyone who watched my video on the left tackle, I think you guys know how I feel about the left tackle position going into this draft. I'm going with Zion Young. I think getting him down at pick 39 would be really big for the Bears. Being able to add another pick and get a guy that fits that Dennis Allen's scheme this well, yeah, I'm going with it. Let's see. All right, I'm taking Zion Young. We'll see how the board falls here. Remember, we got multiple more picks. We're going to have pick 57, pick 60, and pick 70, and then 89. So that's 4 or 5 picks total in the first 3 rounds. I think this would be a great way to start out the draft. So we already got our edge rusher and Zion Young. We'll take a look at how the board went in between here. I liked Keontae Scott. We missed out on Jacob Rodriguez, but a lot of players I like are still on the board here. I think it fell pretty well for us. We do have an offer to trade down from 57 to 63 with the Patriots. We probably wouldn't get much here. Maybe we could recoup a fifth or a sixth rounder, but at this point, I'm going to go ahead and make a pick since I traded down in the first round. Looking at, we still got some edge rushers on the board I like. Gabe Jackas, Malachi Lawrence, Joshua Josephs, Derek Moore. But after taking an edge with pick 39, I'm going to go with the safety here. You guys in chat already know. You guys are saying the name. I think some of you guys know it. I'm a big fan of AJ Halsey. I loved his tape at LSU. I think he's a really solid player. I think he would really help this defense out. Give me AJ Halsey. I'm going to pair him with Kobe Bryant. That's going to fill our need at safety as well. I do like Gabe Jackas, but considering we just took an edge rusher at pick 39, I'm going ahead and going with the safety here, and then we'll see how it plays out the rest of the draft. We got another pick and 3 picks as well, remember. right from 57. We're on the board right again at 60. So we'll see. Maybe I could double down at edge rusher. No, they went ahead and took Jackus. Jackus went with the next pick to the Niners. Texans took Malachi Lawrence. But that kind of shows you how the board falls. This is one of the reasons why, even if we don't trade down uh, at pick set, who had the mullet? Oh, that was I don't remember the name off top of my head. Oh, Globe. Okay, Dobe. I thought that's what I said. I thought I said Dobe. Oh, maybe I didn't. Dobe. Maybe I didn't say it right. But I think there's a lot of edge rushers that could still be on the board when we pick in the second round. That's one of the reasons why I'm kind of a fan of taking a safety or a defensive tackle in the first and then seeing which one of these edges we can get in round two. But there we go, guys. Here's our picks so far. We traded down, picked up pick 70 here, an extra third round pick to move down from 25 to 39. Solid choice, if you ask me. And then we've started out with two defensive players Zion Young, an edge rusher that really fits Dennis Allen's scheme. I don't know if he has the juice as a pass rusher I'm looking for, but he really is. He can set the edge. He has the length. He's a solid player, and he could probably even start right away if needed. We don't really need him to if everybody's healthy, but he's a guy who can come in and help out for sure. All right, let's scroll down the board here, see what we're looking at. I like Derek Moore. I like Josiah Trotter. I like Denai Dennis Sutton. I like Grayson Halton a lot, man, especially considering I haven't taken a defensive tackle yet. I'd be looking at Halton. I like Dominique Orange. I don't know if Dominique Orange is a fit for Dennis Allen's scheme, if you ask me. I don't know. Zachariah Branch, if we wanted some more speed at wide receiver. Mm. Big fan of Daryl Jackson Jr. out of Florida State. Connor Liu, if we wanted to go with the best safety on the board. Kyle Lewis, add to that linebacker room. Anthony Hill Jr., man. I'm going to take Anthony Hill Jr. later, but my pick here, I'm going with Grayson Halton. I know a lot of fans don't know this name. There are some fans out there that do know him. He is a stud. I think he had a really good showing at the combine and the Senior Bowl. He can play that three tech position, and he seems to fit what Dennis Allen is looking for. I do like Big Citrus, man, but I don't know if Dennis Allen likes him. So I'm going to try to stay with some guys who fit what the Bears are looking for here. Give me Grayson Halton, and then we pick again in another 9 picks. Coming up again at pick 70 there. Big Orange actually fell as well. Wildness. But here's how we started the draft, guys. I've plugged some holes on this defense. Zion Young got us that edge rusher. AJ Halsey got us a safety capable of starting right away. And Grayson Halton is going to add to that defensive tackle room. He can give you some push from the interior. Let's see who went in between those picks real quick. Josiah Trotter went off the board. Mike Washington went one pick before us. I was actually hoping he fell here, but the Texans are going to take him off the board. That's probably going to mean that probably means I'm not going to take a running back, especially high. He was the one guy I think is a pretty good fit. Um, if I wanted to throw something a little different here, considering I've started out with 3 straight defensive players, one guy that would make a lot of sense here, Zachariah Branch, a guy who's built kind of similarly to a Tyreek Hill, a short, speedy, muscular guy with a ton of burst, a ton of explosion, who can help add another element to this offense. Considering you're taking him in the third round and you've already taken 3 defensive players before that, that's where all of a sudden I might want to draft a wide receiver. Let me tell you guys this. I've seen some people saying one of the recent big mocks had us taking Jordan Tyson in the first round. I would say that's one where there's almost no chance of it happening. I think trying to take a running back right or a wide receiver right now in the first round makes almost no sense. We have an embarrassment of riches at the wide receiver position. After just taking 2 guys in the top 10, we got Colston Loveland too, and then we got Luther Burden. I don't see it. Yeah, he does. He does does remind me a little bit of DJ Moore. The linebacker I really like, Kyle Lewis is here, But I'm thinking with how this board falls, pick 88 right here, Anthony Hill Jr. Oh man, I might have to grab him right here because we have two more third. We have two picks in the third, right? I pick right here, and then I pick at 89. My choice would be between these two guys. I love Daryl Jackson. I love Romello Height, but I've already addressed the defensive line. Zachariah Branch would be the wild card, but I think the guy, if I'm going to stick to really fixing this defense, I doubt that Anthony Hill Jr. falls this far. But considering he's on the board here, I don't wanna I think the PFF sim has him going too late, but you never know how it's gonna fall on draft day. I love Anthony Hill Jr., and this will kinda complete really help us complete that defensive draft. I'm going to take Anthony Hill Jr. and see what falls out just 19 picks from now. But look at this look how I upgraded this defense, guys. Got an edge rusher in Zion Young. Got a safety in AJ Hall or AJ Halsey out of LSU. Defensive tackle Grayson Halton, linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. The Bears start out like this. We are cooking with bacon grease, man. I would love this here. And now look, now with our other third round pick, we have a choice of any of the top centers in the draft. Connor Liu is still on the board. Sam Hecht is still on the board. Jake Slaughter still on the board. So is Logan Jones. So at this point, if you want to go center here, this is when you're going to look to maybe trade down again. The Raiders have pick 102. That's going down 13 slots. Would they give us, let's see, there's a chance we can get 117 and 102 out of this. Look, guys, this is normally I don't do a lot of trades in these mock drafts, but today is mock draft madness and we're doing trades. I think the board fell perfectly here because there's all four of the top centers are still on the board. We can trade down and still get one of the top centers and acquire an extra pick. Unless the top center really stood out, I would like it. Doesn't last pick Luke Newman. Luke Newman has some center flexibility. I think Luke Newman's body type is actually it fits really well at center, but he's never really played center. Except for in preseason last year, he's been more of a guard. So I don't want to bank on him being our center of the future. So adding some competition here would definitely be smart. I'm going to trade down with the Raiders, and we're going to see if we can still land a top center and then have some extra picks to play with as well. So the top two centers are gone. Let's see how many centers went between that pick. So we were at pick, what was it? The Raiders traded down with us. What pick was that? 89? Yeah, it was 89. And the Raiders actually traded up to take a center. So Jake Slaughter went off the board there. Sam Hecht, Connor Liu, and Logan Jones. They actually nailed us with a run on centers. That usually isn't something that would happen in the draft, but we saw four centers go in the matter of 7 picks. That's wild. So we'll go ahead and reassess the board here. That's something I honestly did not expect to see happen. Sometimes it happens on draft day. So we'll go ahead and take a look. All the top centers are gone now. That would looks like it was a mistake on my part. Instead of taking the top center, I traded down, imagining at least one or two of them would still fall. Jaeger Burton is still there, but at this point, I'm not going to reach for a center. I can add more help on the interior with a guy like Landon Robinson. You can grab a wide receiver like CJ Daniels, another safety. I like Bud Clark. Let's see. Caleb Proctor. I like Deontay Lawson as well, but I already took a linebacker. This is where I'm gonna go. Didn't I see him? Maybe I missed him. I thought I saw. I thought I saw Jude Bowery there, but oh, there he is. I'm gonna reach a little bit down on the board here, and you guys know I think we're pretty good at left tackle. Um, Yeah, it really doesn't make sense, especially for the Raiders to trade up for a center. They just signed Tyler Linderbaum and they have Jackson Powers Johnson. That's one of the things about these mocks I don't like. Sometimes the logic is a bit off, but that's okay. we can always go other ways at center. I think in real life, if we traded down at that position, one of these centers would have fell. But that's the way mock drafts go. You could always take a guy like Bo Stevens as well and try to work him in with center, and then you hope that one of Luke Newman or Bo Stevens becomes a good center. But I'm going to get another left tackle for the future because even though we have three guys competing for the starting job right now, none of them are under contract for 2027. So at this point, even if one of these tackles stands out this year, we need somebody to develop behind him. Let Jude Bowery come in, let him learn. He played left tackle at Boston College. When Ozzie Trapillo was at right tackle, you could let those two guys compete in 2027. This is kind of looking towards the future here, but you want to continue having stability on that offensive line. I like Jude Bowery. He's a guy I like. We'll see if maybe Landon Robinson did fall, and this is one of the reasons why you trade down here. Um, I will address this one comment. The reason I wouldn't take Crown over Bowery, I just look, I know you don't ever want to put too much stock into what you see at the Senior Bowl, but I saw Demetrius Crown over just get whooped. Him and Cage Casey both. And honestly, you want to go back and evaluate the tape more. And I haven't had enough time to really go back and study Cage Casey or Demetrius Crownover's film, but they are guys who just did not impress me at all at the Senior Bowl. I really like no, there's three guys I like here that I've already seen on the board. Tacario Davis, if you want to go with the corner, Tacario Davis would be that guy. If you want to go defensive tackle, I'm a fan of Chris McClellan and Landon Robinson. Where are we at in the picks here? So we're at 117, right? We got one more pick coming up in 12 picks. Since we've already drafted a defensive tackle, let me see if we go further down the board. You could still get Tim Keenan later as well. I'm going to hope what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hope that Landon Robinson or Chris McClellan can make it to my next pick. And I'm going to go ahead and take the corner here. I have seen people calling for a corner. Look, Decario Davis is one of those guys. I like him. You check his look, he's 6'4", 200 pounds. He has that height and length that Al Harris likes. He's from the University of Washington, a Husky, known for developing corners. And you're getting him in round 4 here. Let him come in, learn the position a little bit, and then hopefully I can add another defensive tackle with the next pick, or I can adjust and go somewhere else because there are other positions in need here. I'm going to grab Tacario Davis, though. That's a good start. Let's go back and look at our picks really quick, right? 4 straight guys on defense to start it out. Zion Young, AJ Halsey, Grayson Halton, and Anthony Hill Jr. If we could start the draft like that, I would give them an A plus no matter how the rest of the draft went. I would absolutely love to start out with 4 guys who could be long-term pieces of the defense. That would really help out. And then I added a developmental tackle prospect and a corner who, even if he doesn't help out this year, right? Because we have solid corners. We got Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, Tyler Gordon, and then you got Terrell Smith and Zay Frazier. But Tyreek and Terrell Smith, again, in the last year of their contracts. So you want to add another young player who's going to be here next year and could potentially step in. It doesn't look like either of my defensive tackles fell. Hmm. So at this point, I like Jaden Ott. It's our last pick of the 4th round here. So this is where you're looking at the last guy who's potent. Oh man, I'm going Kevin Coleman Jr. Look, I didn't get the running back, I didn't get the center, but being able to land a guy like I like Josh Cameron too. 2 receivers there that I kind of like. I would be pleased with either one of them. I would have liked to get Landon at 129. He went off the board. Let's see where he went actually. Let's look how far before us he went. 4 picks before us. The Patriots actually, the Patriots ended up taking him. And this is the pick. Oh man, yeah, Landon Robinson went 4 picks before. If he would have fell, I would have snatched him up here. A lot of guys on the board I like here. I think I'm leaning towards going wide receiver though. I'll take one more look through it. I wouldn't mind Emmett Johnson. I like Jacoby Lane. You can also get a tight end if there's someone that stands out here. Tyreek Sapp, if you want to take another shot at the edge rusher class. Couple guys on the board here I like. Jaeger Burton, if you wanted to go ahead and go back to and grab a center, he's the best one on the board. I'm going to take a shot at a center in the 7th round because the board just didn't fall the way I liked. Next mock, it'll probably fall a lot differently and we could switch it up. But for this one, I'm going to go ahead and skip the center. I'm going with Kevin Coleman Jr. here. He adds a much needed home run threat. He's a guy who can come in and learn from Khalif Raymond. He'll be our wide receiver 4 or 5 and our punt kick returner, or at least behind Khalif Raymond as the punt kick returner, and he could fill in that role next year. And then you're going way down to the 7th round here. Long break there, and you'll see I did add 2 players on offense, 5 players on defense. I'm a big fan of this draft so far. Oh man, and Wetchen is almost never on the board here. The one time I take a punt returner, and then here we go when you don't know any of the draft picks in the top 100. Oh, that means you weren't studying the draft that much, man. That's always a good thing. I always watch college football, though, man. I've always been a big fan of college football, especially now that they have the 12-team playoff. It's even better. You started great and then drove off a cliff. Let's see what he didn't like here. So you didn't like it from pick 89 on. Oh, once we traded down and didn't take the center. I understand that. And that's kind of why I wanted to take a little bit of shot and do something different here. Normally, I would take the center in that position, but with all the centers on the board, I thought for sure we'd be able to trade down and get one. And that's kind of how the NFL draft works sometimes. And that's also something I want fans to understand that you take a chance. Anytime you trade down, the guys you like might end up being gone. Uh, Teams could go on a run at certain positions at any time. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the 7th rounders. It's just something I don't like to do because they're 7th round picks. At this point, you're kind of between 7th rounders and potentially undrafted free agents. If you want to shore up your spot as a return man, you could take Wetchen here. Um, you can grab a tight end, you can grab a quarterback. I would definitely be taking a quarterback here if we traded away Tyson Bagent. But since we didn't, I'm just kind of looking for a name that stands out. I always am going to be a fan of taking Patrick Payton if he's there with one of these 7th round picks. He's a guy I've known since he was a freshman at Florida State. He's always had the length, the burst. I just think he needs some more development. This is a guy who could potentially be a Kyle Monungai type of still in the 7th round. If Patrick Payton is there, I'm all for it. He could end up being nothing in the NFL, but at this point, if he can develop into something, all you're using is a 7th round pick. Go ahead and throw it out there. And then one more, I'll just grab somebody here and see what they grade us. See if I can find another name that kind of stands out. Logan Fano, grab another edge rusher here. Brother of the 1st round pick, the tackle out of Utah, but he's an edge rusher. Another decent name. I do like the Illinois quarterback. Do a not right now I can't, but I need to get I haven't played Madden in forever, and I don't even know if I have it installed right now. But I always like to update the draft class and go through and find one that's actually relevant. And that'd be nice to have. My man Plank in the building. Much love, Plank. All right, recap of this draft, guys. Great. I'll let you guys go ahead and grade me in the chat too, because I saw a couple people didn't like it. Some people liked how it started, didn't like how it ended. It's perfectly fine. Let me go ahead. Let me I think that'll be fun. That'll be a fun little practice here. All right, I'll start a poll. Grade draft number one, and then we'll get into another one. I'll try PFSN's draft after this. A, B. All right, boom. Put that up there, and we'll see. All right, let's go through it real quick here. Zion Young at the top of the board. We traded down from pick 25 to pick 39, and we're able to add an additional third round pick here. I'm not trying to rob anybody with these picks. I like to make them as realistic as possible. If you guys wanted, I could always open up the little Rich Hill trade chart and show you guys exactly what is likely to get there, but it's always different on draft day. Depends how much a team wants to trade up, what they really like there. There's a lot to it. So we started out with Zion Young, grabbed AJ Halsey, Grayson Halton, Anthony Hill Jr., the linebacker. They graded Anthony Hill Jr. a D plus. This is a guy who some people have going in the first round, and I got him with the 70th pick and they gave it a D plus. That's crazy. Jude Bowery, a developmental tackle who played left tackle. I think he has all the traits to stick in the NFL. They gave that a D minus. Some of these grades are terrible. They did like my Patrick Payton pick though, and Logan Fano. So got to go that overall grade. PFF gave it a B. Let's see what Chad has given it so far. Looks like Chad has given it a B as well. Not a single vote for a D or an F. I gotta love you guys for that one. Gotta love that one, man. I agree with this kind of man. Get if you can get Zion Young, Anthony Hill Jr., and AJ Halsey, and then I got to include Grayson Halton in there as well. I'm a fan of Grayson Halton. I think that'd be a solid A draft for me if we can get it in real life. Obviously, I think these mocks are a little unrealistic, but if we could do that once we're actually at NFL draft day, I'd be all for it. All right, we're switching over. We're trying the mock draft simulator on PFSN. I'm hoping the board is a little bit more realistic on this one. I actually haven't tried this one out this year. Usually I do a lot of mocks. This year I've been still studying the draft, putting together boards for free agency, and I haven't tried the different mock simulators and really put them to test. So we'll see how realistic this one looks, guys. Bears seventh rounder, take two coming up. My man. Hey, thanks, Alex. I appreciate the super chat, my man. We'll see what happens here in round one. We're already being offered a trade. It's the Packers, so we're automatically saying no. We're not trading down with the Packers. I don't care what they give us. Hmm. There we have the Colts offering us pick 47, 78, and then a second and a fifth rounder in 2027. I'd be interested in that. And then the Texans are offering us a fourth round pick in 2027 to move down 3 spots. I think we're going to do that. Let me look at the board really quick. Caden McDonald is on the board. Kristen Miller is on the board. Emmanuel McNeil Warren. This board is a lot different looking. So we got to kind of see. Look, they have Anthony Hill Jr. way up at 51. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. See if you can see these names a little bit better. They have Anthony Hill Jr. way up at pick 51 here. Um, Genesis Smith. Caleb Banks has fallen down to 55. They've taken that foot injury into consideration. Mike Washington at 61. Grayson Halton at 65. What I'm gonna do here, we're doing trade madness, right? This is a big trade day for me. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take this fourth round pick in 2027 from the Texans and just go down 3 slots and then see what people offer us at pick 28. All right. Let's see. So, in those 3 picks, the Texans took Cade McDonald, a player I really like. The one reason I'm not taking Cade McDonald in this mock, I'm not sure if he's a fit for Dennis Allen's defense. He is a player that I am a huge fan of, but according to what I'm hearing and what Greg Gabriel's hearing, what the Bears are doing in free agency, all of that combined, it sounds like they don't want to run stuffer. But we know how the Bears are. Last year, they made it really clear that they wanted Tyler Warren, only to take Colston Loveland above him. So we know it's lying season in the NFL. The Bears might be looking for a guy like Caden McDonald. Before today, I was kind of glad that's how it fell. So we're down at 28 now. To reassess the board. Akeem Mesidor is on the board. A player I really like. I think he'd help us out instantly. I really like Kristen Miller. He's looked in at pick 31 there. If we could trade down just a little bit more and get Kristen Miller or Emmanuel McNeil Warren, or even Lee Hunter. That's probably Zion Young down there as well. Let's see what we got in the trade offers. The Chiefs are offering us a 2027 second, but they're taking pick 89 as well. No, thank you. Can I counter offer this? Mm, that's the only that's the only trade offer we got. So we can try to propose one here. Let's see where we'd want to move down to. I'm comfortable Raiders or Jets in the early 30s. We'll look into that. We'll look into that. I thought Kristen Miller showed a lot of burst on tape, man. You got to go back to see the first draft. Let's see. I know the Raiders got extra picks. I know the Jets got extra picks. Let's see what the Raiders have here. So to go down from 28 to 36 here, look, and we can also throw in that fourth round pick we got from Houston, right? And then we can see if it's possible we can get pick 67. Close. Ooh. I really would like this, guys. We would give up pick 28, and then we give up that Houston fourth rounder we just got, and we give up our fourth rounder next year, and we would pick up pick 67 there. So that would again give us 5 picks in the top 100, and we'd be making our first pick at pick 36. I'm going to go ahead and go for it. And that trade has been accepted. We'll see what happens on the board here. We're not going to trade down again, though. We're already down at 36. We're going to see who they took. Raiders took Blake Miller, helping out their offensive line. Keem Mesidor went after that. TJ Parker at 31. Cassius Howell at 35. And then I have a choice between 4 players I really like here. Actually, 5. Zion Young is on the board. AJ Halsey's on the board. Lee Hunter is on the board. Jacob Rodriguez is on the board. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, Holton Hood, Kristen Miller, or CJ Allen. It's like 7 players that I would not mind adding here. Um, I really like that, man. I'm torn. I would love to have Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I think he'd look awesome in a Bears uniform at safety. I like Kristen Miller a lot though. And if you can I think Kristen Miller might be the best fit at defensive tackle when you're looking at Dennis Allen's needs here. Let's look at our picks really quick though and then try to plan further down the board. Okay? If you look at defensive tackle, we have pick 57. We should be able to get Grayson Halton there, but you can't bank on that. After that, you're looking late in the draft, Zane Durant or Landon Robinson. Safety, when you're looking at 57, we might miss out on all the top guys, but you could still get a Jason Kill or a Jalen Kilgore or a Kamari Ramsey. At edge, there's still some players. Gabe Jackus is going to be around. Danny Dennis Sutton is going to be around. Deny Dennis Sutton, some people are saying it's pronounced. But the edge class is getting kind of picked. I'm going with Kristen Miller here, guys. I saw a couple people in chat did not like him. I get it, but I really like him. I think he fits Dennis Allen's system. We're not going to ask him to start right away, right? He's going to be a guy who can come in off the bench. He gets penetration into the backfield. If he can learn how to finish as a pass rusher, I think he has all pro upside. But that's what I see from him. I'm going Kristen Miller, and we'll see how it goes after this. All right, we're on the board at 57. Ooh, let's see what's on the board really quick because I like that trade offer. You can add pick 108 here, just moving down 5 spots and giving up a 6. Caleb Banks still on the board. You know, if Caleb Banks is still there in the second, even with a broken foot, I'm not against that. I like Julian Neal at cornerback too. 6'2", 9'5" RAS. He's the kind of guy that I think Ryan Poles and Al Harris would like. Grayson Halton on the board. There's no one that really stands out at the top unless I wanted Genesis Smith, which I like trading Stooks as well. I know a lot of people in the chat like Stooks. I'm gonna go ahead and take that trade. We're gonna move back a couple picks and pick up pick 108 there. See who falls. Not trading down again though. And then you can go corner or safety here. I really like Kamari Ramsey though. Considering now the edge class, man, you could double down here and take Caleb Banks after trading down twice. What would chat think about taking Caleb Banks here, man? I know edge is our biggest need, right? But I'm not liking the top of the board at edge. R. Mason Thomas and Joshua Josephs. I like both players, but I don't think I'm taking either one at pick 60. I would have to come back for those guys. Jake Golday is on the board. Corner Julian Neal. Safety, you can get Genesis Smith. Problem is, I think I like Kamari Ramsey better. I don't know if it's a personal thing. I don't, I don't know what it is, but Genesis Smith, not my guy at that position. Look, I might do something crazy. At linebacker, look, Golday is still on the board. Josiah Trotter is still on the board. We need a lot of these positions. I'm gonna do something that I think Ryan Poles could end up doing though here. He said, look at center. Okay, let's look at center. Let's look just to see. Hecht is not on the board. He's gone. You got Logan Jones way down at 123. Slaughter, they actually got Trey Zune at center here too. Coogan, I like where Coogan is. Bryce Foster. This one, I like how they put the board at center here to where I think I'll be able to get a center later. Off the cusp here, guys. By trading down and picking up an extra second rounder or early third on top instead of a second. I'm going with a cornerback here. I'm going to take Julian Neal. I don't know if you guys are going to like it, but I think it's something that could happen on draft day. And I'm trying to be a little bit different. And then at pick 62, you still have a lot of players here we like. Now we can go with Kamari Ramsey or Josiah Trotter. Who's down the board a little bit at linebacker? You could reach and take Gabe Jackus here. I would rather take Jackus with the next pick because we got pick 67 as well. This is a tough board. I like this board a lot better than what I'm seeing at PFF, honestly. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kamari Ramsey. I need the safety. I wouldn't argue here if you wanted to take Genesis Smith or Caleb Banks either. If you want to double down at defensive tackle, since Trevon Dexter's in the last year of his contract, Grady Jarrett could potentially be cut next year. I don't think it's impossible that the Bears could do something like that, where they take Kristen Miller and Caleb Banks if he falls. But that's kind of an embarrassment of riches, and we need a starting safety right now. So I'm going with Kamari Ramsey. So then you've added a defensive tackle. Oh, Detroit is trying to rip me off. Get out of here with that. We've added a defensive tackle, we've added a cornerback, and we've added a safety. Now's where I go in, try to find an edge rusher here. Try to find an edge rusher I like. You could also grab Jake Goldie here. I wouldn't be mad at Goldie either if you wanted the linebacker. But to me, I do believe edge is a much bigger need. Gabe Jackus is a player I really like. If you can grab him here, he's on the board. They say it's a little bit of a reach, but give me Gabe Jackus, the Illini edge rusher. Now this is where I got to talk about this, guys. This comment here from my guy Abu the Life, right? He says we need a strong safety. No, we do not. The whole reason we let our safeties leave during free agency, this is something I've talked about multiple times, is because Dennis Allen wants versatile safeties who can cover and tackle. He doesn't want to play the traditional role here where you have one safety in the box and one safety up top. That is the opposite of what Dennis Allen wants to do. He does not want a box safety. He wants a versatile safety that can tackle and cover. So that's what we're looking for here. He wants to be able to interchange his safety positions and confuse defenses. And that's one thing where as good as Jaquan Brisker was, as good as Kevin Byard were, they were not versatile enough for Dennis Allen's scheme. Excuse me. And that's why I believe they're not here anymore. Look at that. Looking for a versatile blocking tight end. I like that. I really like Kyle Luis as well. He played really well. I wouldn't be mad at Genesis Smith. I haven't watched him as much as I have Kamari Ramsey. Oh my goodness, though, guys. We're at pick 89 and Caleb Banks is still on the board. Oh my goodness. Let me see who else is here. You got Jalen Kilgore, I wouldn't mind. Deny Dennis Sutton if you want to double down at edge. But I can't pass it up. We have another pick in just 20 selections at 108, and we got 129 because we traded down so much. Honestly, even if Caleb Banks couldn't play this year and he's taken a red shirt year, getting him at pick 89, a guy who has top 15 player in the draft upside if healthy, that's when I'm down to take him. Pick 89, you're getting a top 50 player. I'm doing that every time, even though I've already taken a defensive tackle, even if he might not be a fit, but I think he fits any scheme. Give me Caleb Banks, double down at defensive tackle, really improve the the defensive line here. And I get it. I get that he can't stay healthy, right? I get people saying that, but at this point in the draft, it would just be too hard to pass him up, like my man Dobe says. It's it's too late in the draft, and we got it as an extra pick for trading down. You got to just go ahead and take him there. And then I'm at 108 here, and Jude Bowery would probably be the guy I take normally, right? We did just get him in the last mock draft, though. So I might be looking. We did take Gabe Jackas. Maybe I double down at edge rusher here as well. I wouldn't mind Harold Perkins Jr. either if we need a linebacker there. Logan Jones, this would be a good spot to get our center. Actually, yeah, I'm going to take Logan Jones here, and then we'll see what happens. One more pick in 20 picks at 129 there. This would give us our center. Let me go ahead and lock it in. I got you, Dope. Let's see. Yeah, gotta fix this defense, man. Gotta fix this defense. Let me see. All right, let's see what happens on the board here. This is look, we got two defensive tackles. We got an edge rusher. We got a safety. We got a cornerback, which I don't even consider a huge need, but we got guys who can help us not just this year, but next year as well. Going to improve this defense going forward. And then we grabbed our center of the future. He can learn behind Garrett Bradbury. I'd be a huge fan of this draft. And let's see what we could take here with our other fourth round pick. This is our last player who could potentially help out. The seventh rounders, they're always flyers, guys. So I don't count on my seventh rounders to do anything. If I didn't have two defensive tackles already, Zane Durant would be a great selection here. I like Zane Durant at that position. Let's see. Get a Jake Slaughter still on the board. Tyron Montgomery, Corey and York. Ooh, I like Torian York, and that's the one position I haven't addressed on defense is linebacker. Let me just go up and look at the linebackers really quick because that's the one position I haven't addressed in this draft. Torian York in the fourth round, man, I like him. I like him a lot better than Ruben Hippolyte. Doesn't mean he'll be a better pro, but if you can get him in the fourth round, I'm doing it. That's going to really conclude this I liked Kevin Coleman Jr. there. I liked Wheatley. I liked Landon Robinson too. I wouldn't have been mad at either of those, but I think we needed the linebacker. So that's why I went with it. I didn't have a linebacker yet, and now you're looking all the way down in the seventh round. Now we're just going to throw a couple darts at the wall. Most of those guys we wanted are gone. Noah Whittington. It's a name I haven't talked about yet. A running back I like out of Oregon. Just kind of I like Xavier Harris too, but we've already drafted defensive tackle. Um, Barry Brown, another guy who can return kicks and punts. I like Barry Brown. He's got speed. We're going to take him, and then we'll throw another dart at the wall here. DJ Campbell, really high on him early in his career at Texas. A big mammoth guard prospect. I think we could also use an upgrade at guard, especially if something happens to Joe Tooney or Jonah Jackson. We do have Jordan McFadden and Luke Newman, but I think we need some guys long term who could develop into starters. I'm going to grab DJ Campbell in the 7th round, and let's check this whole draft out, guys. All right, here's my draft. The whole draft on the board right there. Kristen Miller. Let me move my camera on this one. Choo. Mm-mm-mm. Nope, that's in the way too. There we go. All right, this is the whole draft here. So you got Kristen Miller was our first pick. Grabbed Julian Neal, cornerback. Kamari Ramsey at safety. Gabe Jackas at edge. Caleb Banks, doubled down on defensive tackle. Grabbed our center of the future and Logan Jones. Torian York at linebacker. Barry Brown, the white speedster out of LSU, and DJ Campbell. We're going to go back to the board. You guys graded the last draft as a B. We're going to end that poll and add a new one here and let you guys grade this one. Grade draft number 2. Let's see, A, B, well, we didn't really lose 2 picks in next year's draft because one of them we did pick it up from this draft. But, I mean, by trading down that 1 pick, we picked our 2 picks to the Chiefs, we got that. But yeah, I do like the 2027 draft, so I don't wanna give up a bunch of 2027 picks. There's almost 0 chance that I would give up an early pick in 2027, but when you're talking about a 4th or 5th rounder, I think it's a little bit different. Let me see, what's Torian York's height? 5'11". I mean, he doesn't fit the ideal height weight. He doesn't have the length, but when you're getting him that late into the 4th round, did I trade a 6? Well, 6, I don't even really count the 6th round. You can recoup a 6th rounder by trading down 1 spot. Next year's draft is very top heavy. Yeah, we traded away 2027 4th, 2027 6th. Good call on that. I forgot I traded away the 6th. Um, but I don't really. Yeah, Devin Bush is similar size, and they apparently like Devin Bush enough to give him a big contract in free agency. So I don't think that's too big of a deal there. Let me see. All right, yes or no? You guys want me to do another mock, or do you guys want to pick? You guys want me to have you guys pick the picks? I'll do a chat vote pick. Let me know what you guys think. I won't do a poll for it. Just I'll gauge by what you guys say in chat. I'm either going to run another one. And I think I am going to use the PFS in here over PFF. I think I really like the board a lot better. Logan Jones too small at center. I mean, 6'3", 299. I don't disagree with that. I mean, I don't agree with that. I think he's a guy who 6'3", 300, even you can go down to 280. Um, I'd go down to 280 even at center with a chance to bulk up, especially since you're not counting on him to start as a rookie. It'd be different if he's coming in and competing for a starting job, but he's not. Our starter is going to be Garrett Bradbury, so he's a guy who not gonna be starting, so I don't know, to me, that's not something I'd really consider too much. What did someone else ask here? BJ Payne, um, safety out of K-State, he has that size speed combination. I don't know enough about his coverage ability to tell you if he's a fit. I think it's really got to be okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll make a couple rules for this, guys. We'll trade back, chat vote. Only one trade down allowed. That's what we'll do. You can trade down with the first pick, and we'll keep all of our 2027 picks. The only reason I traded 2027 picks to begin with is because I moved down a little bit and got that extra pick in 2027. So I thought that made it, it was like at that point, why not package that pick and move up with one of our picks? But yeah, it worked out pretty well. All right, we'll go ahead and run this one again. We're doing PFSN. One last look at this what we did in this draft if you guys wanted to grade that out if you haven't graded it yet. But look, that's our last look there. Go ahead and I want to go ahead and fix my camera though. Where'd it go? Oh, I like that one. That's pretty good. Okay, we're gonna run it back, and I'm gonna have you guys make the picks. Obviously, Bears, 7 rounds. We'll go fast. All right, let's start it up. Mm. Ooh, that's a wild one. Look at that one, guy. I didn't get any offers like that. Look at this one. The Jags, you're going way down though. From 25 to 56, and you can get 81, 88, and a Jacksonville second. We could use that 2027 second to trade back up with one of our picks. Let's see what the other offer. Oh, I like this one too. Going down to this is a really good one here, guys. This is a really good one. Seahawks, and you guys can see that, right? I got my camera is like all short now. I can't really see it. Choo. Yeah, you guys can see it. Okay. This one, you're only going down 7 picks and you're picking up the last pick of the 7th round. That is a steal. That is a steal. Let's see if there's another offer. Arizona's offering us a second in 2027. We don't really care about that one. We'll reject that one. I like Jacksonville's offer, but you're moving down so far. I really like the Seahawks offer. This is a chat vote though, so we'll go ahead and end this one early. Oh, you guys give me an A for that draft. I love you, chat. Did get some Fs though. I did get a couple Fs. All right, we'll start the poll here. Only 2 options. Which trade? Um, Seahawks trade, pick 32, or what was the other one? Jaguars? I think it was the Jaguars. Number 56. I'll just run this for like a minute, let you guys pick which one you actually want to do here. I'm imagining it's going to be the Seahawks offer. It's one of the better trade offers I've ever seen offered in one of these mocks that's actually semi-realistic. I think that's a killer trade offer there. You're only going down 7 picks. We will look at who's on the board though. Obviously, in real life, I think I would run to the board and take Peter Woods here. But like I said, we're doing trade downs today. This is the one day where I'm really exploring trade downs. Thought we'd have a little bit of fun with it. We're gonna go down and see who's on the board at 32 is what it looks like. Let's see what the chat. Oh yeah, it's 100% Seahawks. Okay, yeah, we're taking the Seahawks off. All right, all right. Seahawks offer it is, guys. We're picking up pick 64 here and going down 7 picks. We are giving up one of our 7th rounders, but that's not a big deal at all. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see who went in between there. The Seahawks did trade up for Peter Woods, though. I mean, see, this is one thing I like about the PFSN logic. A lot of times you'll do a trade down and a team will trade up for a player who has no shot of being taken at that spot. They traded up and took the best player on the board. The same player I would have taken at 25 is who the Seahawks traded up for. So I love that. Here we are, guys. Pick 32. Give me the names you guys like. I'm going to run them through here, right? Kristen Miller, that's the guy I took in the last mock, so we might want to swap it up from that. CJ Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia. Manuel McNeil Warren, if you want to go with the safety, he's there. I think he fits Dennis Allen's scheme perfectly. Jacob Rodriguez, Lee Hunter, Malachi Lawrence, Chris Johnson, Zion Young, even. All right, I'm going to see the names that are written most in chat, and then I'll fill them out. Wait, Jigsaw, what are you saying? I can't read that. We haven't made our first pick yet. We traded down to 30. We traded down from 25 to 32. Or do you mean the first pick of the draft? They did it right. They got Fernando Mendoza. I don't know about Carnell Tate going second, but um, the Seahawks took Peter Woods. We traded down with the Seahawks, got picked 32, and I believe picked 64. Yeah. So we now have 3 second rounders and the last pick of the first round. All right, I saw Lee Hunter. Someone wanted Hunter. Someone wanted Warren. All right, we're gonna start. I'm gonna start putting together this poll for you guys. You guys are making these picks. First round, pick 32. All right, safety, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. It's going on the board. Defensive tackle, Lee Hunter. I do see people going for edge, Malachi Lawrence. We got one more spot. One more spot. Let me see. Jacob Rodriguez. Yeah, I'm gonna put Jacob Rodriguez on there. I think Caden Proctor's gone. Yeah, Caden Proctor went off the board. Can you see the defensive tackles? Yeah, we'll look at DTs real quick. So you got Kristen Miller, you got Lee Hunter, you got Caleb Banks, you got Grayson Halton. Probably a little bit too high for them. It'd probably be Kristen Miller or Lee Hunter. A lot of people saying Malachi. We'll go ahead and put the linebacker on here. Jacob Rodriguez. Give you guys a little bit of shot of taking any one of those 4 players on defense. I'll give you a minute or two. If you guys have questions about any of those players or you want a little bit of my thought process on it, I will tell you. Offensive tackles, Ian Anchor, the Arizona State guy, is there, and then you're going way down. Northwestern, Caleb Tiernan. You got Demetrius Crownover, Drew Shelton, Isaiah World. I don't think it's a strong tackle class this year. I think there's like 3, 4 top tackles, and then it's downhill from there. Go ahead and vote Lawrence in. I do have the poll up. You guys can vote it out. Safety is leading right now, guys. I know there's some people out there who don't want a safety. Get your vote in. Lee Hunter, Malachi Lawrence, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, or Jacob Rodriguez. Um, Listen, I think I get it. Some people will say this is too early for a safety, but you got to realize the Seahawks just took a safety last year at pick, what, 35? 3 picks lower than this, and they won the Super Bowl. So anytime a team wins a Super Bowl after drafting a safety at a certain spot, I don't know if you can say it's too high because you got to follow the model that teams just use to win the Super Bowl. If they can take a safety that, and it's not like he wasn't a big part of their Super Bowl run. He was one of the best players on that defense most of the year. So I can't say it's too early to take a safety, especially when I believe he's my favorite safety in this draft, besides, of course, Caleb Downs out of Ohio State. They have a really strong defensive line, but they didn't have a single guy getting over 7 sacks. So, I mean, there's 2 points there. And that's another thing here. We have a lot more picks. You can attack the defensive lines with pick 57, 60, 64. I'm not saying we should take a safety, but I'm giving a counterpoint because there's a lot of people saying it's too high. I could see us taking a safety at this point. I don't know if their defensive line is stacked, but they had some solid players at defensive line, but not a single player with more than 7 sacks. So that tells me you need depth at defensive line. You grab this, and that's why maybe you grab a safety early, and then you bring it Here's the other counterpoint to that. We need a starting safety. We need rotational guys on the defensive line. I don't think whoever we draft here is going to start over Austin Booker or Montez Sweat. Maybe a defensive tackle could start over Jervon Dexter or Grady Jarrett, but that really depends here. Let me see what is the vote? The vote is saying safety. The people in chat are saying no safety, but safety is the leading vote getter by the chat. By the chat for the chat, man. Cornelius nailed it, man. I want a difference maker. I think we need I think we need a playmaker on defense. No matter which way it is, you need a playmaker on defense. Yeah, I think the chat has spoken. They were a little bit split on the defensive line between Lee Hunter and Malachi Lawrence. And the guy who wins out at the end of the day is Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I get it. I know there's some guys who didn't want the safety, but now you got to try to find your defensive line now. Look, it I think the draft did fall for us a little bit here. Pick 57, Zion Young is still on the board. Let's see. Grayson Halton still on the board. Let's look at defensive line here. I know there's a lot of guys wanting defensive line. A defensive tackle, these are our top names. Okay, we got Grayson Halton, we got Daryl Jackson Jr., you got Dominique Orange, the big orange, you got Chris McClellan, and you got your guy Landon Robinson. At edge, you got Zion Young. We can get Gabe Jackus later. You can get Derek Moore or Denai Dennis Sutton later. A lot of options there, guys. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna end that poll, and now we're making our second pick. Emmanuel McNeil Warren was the first pick. Pick number 2 here, guys. Which number is this? Pick number 57, second round. Remember, we have 3 picks in the second round here. So I'm gonna put up Zion Young, put up defensive tackle Grayson Halton, linebacker Anthony Hill Jr., also an option here. Let's see what else we can have. I use the default one on here, man. We use default PFSN. Cornerback Julian Neal, Anthony Hill Jr. is there. Let's see. We'll look at offense. Sam Hecht is on the board too if someone wanted to grab their center. All right, I'm putting up the vote now, guys. The top defensive tackle is Grayson Halton. The top defensive end is Zion Young. I think either one of those guys would be a good fit. We need a defensive tackle. There are some defensive tackles late, though. That's one thing. If I'm looking at this class, and one of the reasons I wouldn't panic here, and why you don't have to overdraft a defensive tackle, you can get Zane Durant late. You can get Dante Corleone out of Cincinnati. That's a guy who was projected as a second round pick a couple years ago. Zane Durant fits that speed. Landon Robinson late. Chris McClellan out of the top 100. I really like Daryl Jackson Jr., but we could get with our next pick after this one. If we went with Zion Young here, you could still come back and get a defensive tackle with our other pick. I do not like left tackle after the first round. You're looking at guys like Demetrius Crownover, Caleb Tiernan, Bruce Shelton, and Isaiah World. It's just like it looked like at the end of the first round. I think Zion Young would be a great fit here. I do like Grayson Halton, but man, Sam Hecht, you can go with the center, but we can get a center late as well. Hey, you guys are choosing this. This is all you boys. Caleb Proctor, that's a sleeper. JC Davis to me is more of a right tackle, but if you wanted to bring him in as a developmental guy, obviously not this early. Where do they have him at? They have him down at 147. Yeah, I agree with this a little bit. You kind of see how left tackle plays out with the guys. Maybe I should change my vote to Young. Oh, you voted for the defensive tackle? I think Young is winning. Yeah, Zion Young is winning hands down here. 59, 60% of the votes. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and make the pick here. You guys have already decided. Zion Young, I think that's a great pick. You went back to the trenches after grabbing the safety, and you can still get a defensive tackle here. We still have 2 more picks in the second round after this. With the trade down here, guys, remember, 3 picks in the second round. So you can attack the trenches here and maybe even get a linebacker as well. Great start here, guys. You got you got Emmanuel McNeil Warren, the safety. You got Zion Young, the edge. And now let's see who's on the board here. You got Anthony Hill Jr. You got Sam Hecht. I know you guys want a defensive tackle though. So, all right. I'm gonna put up a new poll coming up, guys. New poll coming right up. Let me see what we can do here, okay? Good job. Good job on Zion Young on that one. I like that. I like that. I like if we could get Zion Young late, I like it. All right. Pick 3 is number 60 here. Linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. Defensive tackle, you got Grayson Halton. Who was next? Who was next? Oh, the center. I know a lot of people want this center, Sam Hecht out of Kansas State. Um, and I'm going to throw another defensive tackle on there because I do believe it's our biggest need. Um, Daryl Jackson Jr. out of Florida State. I'm a big fan of him as well. If for some reason you don't like Grayson Halton, you can still get a defensive tackle there, and it would be Daryl Jackson Jr. All right, poll is up. I don't think we need a I don't think we need a left tackle this year. I don't think that's I don't know if you saw, I just made a video on it yesterday or the day before. I don't believe we need to draft a left tackle at all. If you want to draft a developmental guy, sure, but I still don't believe he's going to end up starting or playing this year unless we had a lot of injuries. We would have to get devastated by injuries here to even need one of those guys at left tackle. We have 3 players with quality NFL starting experience at left tackle. So at that point, yeah, I get it, but I think we're fine. So we got Emmanuel McNeil Warren, we got Zion Young. I do believe if we went Anthony Hill Jr. here, you could still get a defensive tackle with the next pick. But if you go defensive tackle here, you could still get Jake Golday if you wanted a linebacker with the next pick. I like Jake Golday as well. So I think you could really go either way there. Let me see. I like it either way. Let's see what's leading the chat. It's close. It's close right now. Grayson Halton is in the lead. Anthony Hill Jr. A lot of people are battling for the center too. Sam Hecht is getting some votes. Sam Hecht is getting some votes, but Grayson Halton seems to be pulling away. Yeah, I believe the same thing there, free to play though. I believe that as well. Oh yeah, I think Grayson Halton. It looks like he's the runaway here, guys. 48% of votes going to the defensive tackle. But you could go either way. We get Young. Who's Young? Oh, we already got Zion Young. Sam Hecht probably gets picked in the next 4. That's possible. Yeah, I think that's the pick. That's the pick Chap has made here. We're going Grayson Halton. Now we've added 2 players to the defensive line and a starting safety. I can't argue with this, Chad. That's a good start. And now we're looking at pick 64 here. Let's see what's available. We've added a defensive tackle, we've added an edge, and we've added a safety. If you're bringing in a linebacker, one thing about the linebacker here is if we're drafting a linebacker, he's most likely not starting. We got DeMarco Jackson and we got Devin Bush. So when it comes down to that, you also have TJ Edwards coming back from injury as well. There's a lot to that and a lot of reasons why a guy might not even be starting. Ooh. Oh, Sam Hecht is still on the board. Oh, the center position just isn't that strong, man. Listen, I get it. You say we need a left tackle. Let me make one final point, even though I've already said it. You have Theo Benedict, who started 8 games at left tackle last year. You have Braxton Jones, who has 3.5 years of starting experience, and he's finally healthy. And then you have a former top 10 pick in Jedrick Wills Jr. Those 3 guys are going to battle. We don't need a left tackle. One of those guys should be able to at least stabilize the position until Ozzy Trapillo comes back. And if for some reason none of those 4 guys get the job done, you can slide Joe Tooney over to left tackle and you have Jordan McFadden come in at guard. So I do not believe we need a left tackle. I had to go against that. I do not see Kyler Gordon getting moved to safety either. Maybe in certain situations, but not all the time. Definitely not. All right, ending the poll. New poll coming up here, guys. This is going to be for pick 64. And since he got so many votes last time, I got to put center Sam Hecht in there. You guys seem to want the center. Well, I mean, look, listen, the name, we just go with the top one on the board unless there's someone we like. If 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 you like say for instance, if you like Connor Liu better than Sam Hecht, that's fine, but I would vote for Sam Hecht anyway if that's what you want, if you really think we need a center. We're not gonna get too deep into comparing the players in a fan-driven mock draft like this. We'll also put linebacker. You got a linebacker still on the board. You can go Jake Golday. You can go with the cornerback, Julian Neal. Let's see. And then what other position might fit here? Wide receiver, if you guys want Zachariah Branch. Hey, I appreciate it, my guy. I appreciate you, man. All right, there's the poll. Poll is up. Get your picks in. Let's look at what we've done so far. Much appreciated, my man. I don't know how we got to compensate for 2 spots on the line. I don't. You're basically saying that Braxton Jones, who was top 5 before he got hurt, and you got to go watch that video I made, Raging. Watch my left tackle video and then drop a detailed comment on that video, and I'll discuss it with you and tell you my thoughts. But I don't think I think too many people are ruling those guys out. If you're sitting here and saying that none of those 3 players that we have competing for the left tackle, that not one of them can step up and hold the job down, I think any of the 3 could be a very solid left tackle. But all we need is one of them to come into camp 100% motivated, hashtag motivated, and win that job. They're going to be playing next to Joe Tooney. It's and then we have Garrett Bradbury at center. No, we've got an edge rusher. We got Zion Young. So these are the picks we've made already. The chat has made. They took a safety after trading down, traded down a little bit in round 1, and got Emmanuel McNeil Warren here. Then they took an edge rusher, Zion Young out of Missouri, and then defensive tackle Grayson Halton. And now we're looking for our third second round pick here. And Chad is voting on that right now. Looks like the leader is Sam Hecht. Nobody picked Zachariah Branch. A couple picks for Julian Neal. Jake Goldie's got some too. Sam Hecht seems to be the runaway favorite here. Get that center. Yeah, we have 4 players at left tackle. I didn't even include um Karan Amagaji, but you can also draft a developmental guy in like round 4, like I've done with Jude Bowery. I don't think no, see this I completely disagree with this. Never, Never in my entire life as a Bears fan have we been here where we are at left tackle. Have we been just throwing guys out there? Yes. Have we ever had three guys with starting experience, all under the age of 26, competing for the left tackle job? No. Have we ever had those three guys playing with a very solid other four positions? Usually, if we had guys competing at left tackle, right? We probably had a guy like Sam Mustipher at center or a revolving door at left guard. They weren't playing next to Joe Tooney. They weren't playing with a center who was just in the Super Bowl. They weren't playing with an all pro right tackle like Darnell Wright. And they also weren't playing with a quarterback who can extend plays and make guys miss like Caleb Williams has. So, no, I love you raging. I think you make a ton of killer points, but I disagree with that one so much. We are not in the same position we've been before. There is a lot different here this year. And when you're talking about Braxton Jones, he lost his job last year. Yes. Braxton was not healthy last year. This isn't a secret. It's not some kind of hidden knowledge. He wasn't ready for OT. He couldn't walk when we were in OTAs. He was still in a boot. When we got to training camp, he still wasn't ready to go. He got eased in halfway through camp. But you got to realize this about Braxton. He was maybe 80 to 90% healthy, and he still was good enough in training camp to beat out Ozzie Trapillo and Theo Benedict. He beat those guys out and won the job. He couldn't hold down the job because he wasn't healthy. But if he can get here healthy 100% and he can bulk up a little bit, you can't rule out Braxton, man. You can't rule out Braxton. And even if Braxton sucks, Theo Benedict is solid. Like I said, Jedrick Wills, if he's 100%, he can be good as well. Raging, bro, you're about to make me rage. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But how can he put on 20 pounds of muscle when he can't walk? You're like contradicting yourself here, man. That's what I'm saying. He has that opportunity this year. Last year he couldn't walk. He couldn't even walk. He was in a boot. He had surgery. You can't bulk up and put on weight when you can't even walk. Now this year he has that opportunity. Imagine he shows up to training camp, 20 pounds of more muscle, and all of a sudden you're talking about a guy who could look really good. Willis isn't a project to me. Willis is a flyer. A project means you have to completely develop them. That's not the case with Wills. He he was a top 10 pick. He has the talent. He's good enough. He just hasn't been he hasn't had that opportunity. All right. We're gonna go ahead and make the pick. You guys run away with Sam Hecht. I'm getting off track here. Sam Hecht is the pick. Let's see. One more pick in the let's see. 89 coming up here. All right. 89. We're looking. Jadarian Price is on the board. We got the running back. We got Jacoby Lane. All right, let's do something crazy here. Let's see what chat does with this one. Pick 89. Wide receiver, Jacoby Lane. Running back, Jadarian Price. Cornerback, Malik Muhammad. And then we're gonna do something off. Let's go off board here. Let's see who's on here. This crazy. Dominique Orange still on the board. Deny Dennis Sutton. We're gonna go Dominique Orange. Is yeah. All right, guys. We'll give you guys a minute to vote this one really quick. We're gonna get through this one quick now. I like Jadarian Price. He was the backup at Notre Dame. I do think he goes a little bit higher than this. I should have put Jude Bowery on there, but we're running out of time here. We're going quick. We spent too much time talking about Braxton Jones in the left tackle position there. A lot of players on the board that I like here. This is talking fourth round here. Guys, I just don't think left tackle is as big of a need as most people in this most of our fans believe. I don't think it's as big of a need as most people do. So that's one thing. That's one thing I just gotta comment on. Uh yeah, Braxton is needed to bulk up for years, but it's also I think some people don't realize that a big part of sometimes with that anchor, it's not always people say anchor strength and people say he has no butt, all this stuff. But it's also technique. You can get better with your technique and improve your anchor. We did take the center. It looks like we're going running back here as well. We took Sam Hecht. So you got three defenders, Sam Hecht, and now we're going to go ahead and take Jadarian Price. See what we do for this last pick. Oh, Chris McClellan is on the board. If you like defensive tackle, this is another spot to get a defensive tackle here. I like Chris McClellan. We got Harold Perkins on the board as well. Fourth round. DT Chris McClellan. Linebacker Harold Perkins Jr. Big fan of him. He can also rush the passer a little bit. See if we got any. Oh, I'm gonna put Landon Robinson on there. You guys love Landon Robinson. And then the final option will be wide receiver. We'll put Kevin Coleman Jr. on there. I also like Kyle Luis. Um, and I like Malachi Fields, but with only four spots here, I can't put two linebackers or two receivers. Yeah, I like Kyle Luis. If you want Kyle Luis, just vote for Harold Perkins Jr. Because I actually think I like Luis more than Harold Perkins, but I am running out of time. I'm supposed to have a meeting at sometime between 1:30 and 2 here. I haven't got the email yet for it, so we're still going for a minute. I do think we need more depth on defense. No, I'm not saying it's dumb talking about the left tackle. I believe look, a lot of what I talk about is what I believe the Bears will do. And it's not that I think I'm smarter than everybody. It's not that I'm telling you guys I know how to build the team better. It's what I believe based on logic and common sense. And if our plan was to draft a left tackle early, I don't believe we would bring in three guys with starting experience at left tackle. I just don't think that's in the plan. That's common sense and logic to me. What I believe the Bears are going to do, not what I want the Bears to do. It's what I truly believe here. And I'm not always right. I didn't see us taking Colston Loveland last year, but I'm telling you guys my thoughts and what I believe here. And when it comes down to it, if we were going to take a left tackle early, I don't think we would pay Braxton Jones up to $10 million. But yeah, you say he's a master deception, yes, but we also if we would have signed 4 tight ends last year to go with Cole Kmet, like say we would have went out into free agency and signed a guy like what's the guy who used to play for the Giants who's on the Broncos now? Um Evan Ingram. Say we would have went out and signed Evan Ingram and a couple other tight ends. Someone like who'd the Steelers get? Jonnu Smith. If we would have had Evan Ingram and Jonnu Smith, we might not have drafted Colston Loveland there. And that's just I'll come back to it after the draft. I'm just almost guaranteeing we don't take a left tackle with one of our first 3 picks. That's what I got to say there. All right, who do you guys vote for? Chris McClellan. Let's go defensive tackle, and then we'll just pick somebody in the 7th round here, and I'll show you guys the draft. I think you guys killed it. I think you guys I think you guys nailed a ton of picks here. This is a killer draft. I love the debates we have as well. I think it's fun to talk. I think it's fun to talk about potential players we could take in the draft because there's just a lot of ways this could go. We didn't take a wide receiver. We'll just clear it off with this. I'll take Barry and Brown to just kind of throw it in. All right, here's the draft, guys. This is what we ended up taking. I think this would be very, very solid on draft day. Can I make it a little bit bigger for you guys? Yeah, here we go. All right. Emmanuel McNeil Warren, you got the safety. You got Zion Young. You got defensive tackle Grayson Halton. Sam Hecht, center of the future. Jadarian Price, running back. Chris McClellan, defensive tackle. And Barry Brown, another wide receiver. We'll quickly let you guys grade this. Tell me what your favorite pick was. Let's see. A, B. I just think sometimes what the general managers what they do in that front office there is they think of what they got to do. And when you look at this year's draft, another point of this is it's not a strong draft for left tackles. If we really want to get a stud left tackle and they don't think Ozzie Trapillo is the best option, next year's draft is actually better than this year's. So I really like this draft. I think the fans did a great job. I think you guys are awesome. Make some killer picks here. Um, I do like this. I don't know if but there's part of the problem there is it's not really that we destroyed quarterbacks. Did we really support those quarterbacks enough? No. But if we wouldn't have taken Mitch and maybe we would have taken the right quarterback, if we would have taken Patrick Mahomes, do you think the same thing would have happened? Because I mean, that's part of history we can't really go back on. But I also believe, I'll get to this in a second. I do, guys, we got to stop saying that this injury is a career killer. It is not 2005 anymore. There was one article published that has severely changed everyone's perception, and it's pushing narratives that are not true. The last 8 players who were taken in the top 100 picks and had that injury before they were 25 years old all returned to play. 100% of them returned to play at full health. We're talking about when there's some kind of stat. It was from, I remember reading it. I went through the article and I looked at the actual stats of what they were talking about. And then I went on to Pro Football Reference and looked at every single player, where they were picked at, how far down they were drafted, and how they came up with that bogus number of 40 some percent of players who have this injury never return and play football again. Most of those players were day 3 picks or undrafted free agents who most likely wouldn't have made teams anyway. So when they say they didn't come back, they might have came back to full health. They just never got signed to a roster because they were fringe NFL players anyway. And most of the players who didn't come back was also pre 2018. Guys who get injured with that injury now and they're top 100 picks and they're under the age of 25, 100% return rate. So stop saying Ozzy's done for his career. That's another thing I just don't believe. I think it's spreading misinformation. Is there a small chance it could happen? Maybe, but modern medicine, I'm not a doctor. Modern medicine has gotten a lot better over the years, guys. A lot of these guys are returning and looking even better. There was 2 players who had that injury last year who returned and were 100%. One of them is the Ohio State offensive tackle who was starting at left tackle for the Chiefs week 1 of the regular season. So I mean, to me, it's just crazy. I think it's I don't think that's something we should speculate on. When the Bears tell us They expect him to be back at midseason. I'm taking their word for it. We don't a doctor, some random doctor on Twitter is saying he might not come back. That doctor hasn't seen Ozzy Trapillo's medicals. He hasn't seen an MRI of Ozzy Trapillo. He hasn't seen an X-ray of Ozzy Trapillo. I love you guys, but that's just one thing I gotta go to. Plank, I know it's coming as a surprise, my man, but I am not a doctor. Yeah, Josh Simmons is the left tackle for the Chiefs who came back from the injury last year. But guys, I love you. Let me know in the comments if you guys want me to do more live shows like this. I can mix it up, do a little bit something different next time. But I like to have fun. I don't like to make it over an hour and a half, 2 hours, because I do believe people start to lose short attention spans. And I got something to do today. I love you guys. Please hit the like button for me. I have another video on the way for later today talking about why I believe the Bears need to draft a defensive playmaker in the first round. Please hit that like button for me. Comment your thoughts below. Stay tuned. I'll be back